Hello everyone! It's been a while since we had a look or listen to the Whispers of Il'gynoth, a tiny grove of the Behemoth N'Zoth, first encountered in the Emerald Nightmare raid, and then made a return in Ny'alotha. Over the years, a lot of cool ideas have been passed around to explain the meaning behind these maddening whispers, because, well, at the end of the day, they can be applied to many different things, and even now, they still remain very fluid. The shadow, the void, it seeks every possible path and sees them all as truth. They have inside information to share, hints at things to come. Keep in mind that there will be spoilers ahead for Shadowlands, but first, let us go back in time and listen to the whispers that were given to us in Legion.
5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. The Lord of Ravens will turn the key.
In Legion, we teamed up with Khadgar, together the 5 Pillars of Creation, to seal off the gateway at the Tomb of Sargeras. While successful in that mission, ultimately it did lead to Illidan opening up a massive rift between Argus and Azeroth. This did give us the chance to save the Pantheon, lock Sargeras away, but not before he took his mighty sword and took a swing at the planet and the Titan spirit inside, which led to a whole bunch of Azerite popping up across the surface.
The King of Diamonds has been made a pawn. Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. From the earth he draws strength. Our earth, our strength. Her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
In Battle for Azeroth, we teamed up with Magni Bronzebeard, the King of Diamonds, to save our world from the damage inflicted by Sargeras. Magni could also be the one that draws the strength from the earth. Alternatively, they could also be talking about the Black Prince Rathian, who joined us later. Either way, Azeroth is corrupted by the old gods, locked away beneath its surface, and in the Chamber of Hearts, we did everything we could to heal her, filling up a heart of Azeroth, which did save the world, but was also turned against us.
Flesh is his gift. He is your true creator. To find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars. At the hour of her 3rd death, she ushers in our coming.
The old gods are responsible for the Curse of Flesh, which was intended to weaken the Titan Forged, make them more vulnerable to their corruption, literally give them flesh. It's how, for example, mechagnomes became the gnomes, or Vrykul turned into humans. Now ultimately, the Circle of Stars, it proved to be a location within the Eternal Palace, which led into the final prison, that of N'Zoth. It was there where Queen Azshara turned the heart of Azeroth against us, released the old god from his prison, the hour of her 3rd death. That would have been the 3rd time that Azeroth, quote-unquote, died. The 1st time being the Sundering at the end of the War of the Ancients. The 2nd time was the Shattering with the Cataclysm at the hands of Deathwing. And then the 3rd time, from the stabbing, if you will, us failing to save her from the wounds inflicted by Sargeras, the old gods or N'Zoth breaking out, and Ny'alotha claiming the world. Their coming was thankfully prevented. The world was saved, even cleansed of the foul old god's infection, at least if we believe Magni. Again, these whispers, they can be read in so many different ways, but this is the one that I found fitting. So when I say this applies to this, it doesn't mean that is actually the truth. It's just the way that these whispers make sense to me. Which also means that the Whispers of Il'gynoth that we got from Legion, they talk about moments that either set up or played out during Battle for Azeroth. There is, however, one whisper in this set that I haven't been able to place in that expansion quite yet.
The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you.
Pretty safe to say by this point that the boy king is Anduin. That nickname has been used a fair few times now to describe him. There's also the novel Shadows Rising, where at the end we see Anduin confronting Syrah Moonwarden, the little lion. He's been dealing with the death of his father, ruling Stormwind and guiding the Alliance, the whispers of N'Zoth coursing through Azeroth, and now he's trying to uphold a tenuous peace between the Alliance and the Horde. Sylvanas Windrunner must be brought to justice, a quest that pushes people to the extreme. Where is she? Anduin wasted no time. Where is Sylvanas Windrunner? Syrah Moonwarden rolled her eyes and glanced away. Nowhere you will find her. Even if you did, it is far, far too late. You have lost. My spies tell me the opposite is true, the king told her. They say you were not successful in destroying Bonsamdi, that your dark range of forces were annihilated, and the Thanos Blightcaller escaped only because your mistress intervened. She said nothing, but her lip curled at the mention of his name. Do you know how many deaths you have caused? How much misery you have brought upon my kingdom? Anduin crouched, crowding her. Do you know? Do you care? Syrah smiled. Smile all you like, creature. There's little hope for you now. Your people will want to speak with you, want to understand how you could serve Sylvanas. You realize this, yes? The Dark Warden considered that for a moment, Jaina's magic flame dancing across her pale, pale face. I know it, yes, and I feel nothing. Once more, you've wasted the little time you have left. Anduin made a soft sound of disgust and stood, hovering over her, considering her for a long and tense spell. A wisp of purple energy traveled down his arm, gathering in his palm. It happened in a blink, coming and going, dissipating before Matthias could see for certain what the king had done. It startled Anduin enough to make him stumble backward. Shaw felt Jaina's eyes upon him, and he glanced her way. If he was rattled before, the fear etched upon Jaina's brow shook him to the core. Anduin winced, breathing hard, shaking out his hands before leaning back against the wall. Shaw knew better than to be staring when the king's eyes began to roam their faces for a reaction. Syrah threw her head and laughed herself hoarse. Tell me, she mocked in a sing-song voice, how does it feel to know you have lost? For time will prove it so. Ah well, take heart, falling lion. You will serve well. You will serve well. So the pressure on Anduin, eventually it's, a scene where it boils up and then a certain thing happens to him. And people were wondering, or myself were wondering as well, the intention behind that scene. Was it Void? Was it Jailer? Can you explain a little bit more about it?
Oh, we're talking about the very end?
Yeah.
Yeah, the very okay. So again, I was given limited information on this. This was explicitly told that I had to do this, so there's clearly plans there. But yeah, there's some sort of dark energy that he is reaching for in that moment of rage and frustration and sadness. So yeah, I don't know a ton. It was like he needs to, during this confrontation, there needs to be a surge of dark power that comes from him, and the people around him that care for him need to be taken aback by it. So
okay, so definitely
that's about all I know about that.
Well, we do have Syrah
that I can say,
who then tells him you will serve as well, you will serve as well, falling line, which was a nice line. Have you ever heard of the Whispers of Il'gynoth by chance?
I have, yes.
Is there something there? Maybe.
Again, we're getting into stuff that is dangerous.
Dangerous territory. We're gonna veer away. Dangerous territory. Let's not even go there. Let us take it.
I mean, I will say, all I'll say is that scene specifically is everything is extremely intentional.
So with an eye on Shadowlands, it seems that our Anduin is going to serve at the jailer's table in whatever capacity that might be. Might be related to passing on leadership of the Alliance, his pursuit of Sylvanas, or in a more literal sense, since at this point in time on the beta, Anduin is still trapped within the Tower of Torghast, keeping the jailer company. Realize he will offer you is definitely an interesting one, as it might be about Anduin lying, or you can refer it to the jailer offering lies. What those lies might be from either of them, I have no idea. Curious to find out though, and cool to see that these whispers do eventually find their spot in the story. Onward, the next set of them, offered to us when Il'gynoth returned, this time in Nyalova.
When their mistress beckons, 9 ravens take flight. Each seeks a prize to earn her favor. The Golden One claims a vacant throne.
With Sylvanas shattering the sky above Icecrown and making her way into the Shadowlands. Her agents are then sent out to capture some high-profile targets. It might also be related to Helya or some other mistress, but for now, when they say 9 ravens, and we know that 9 Val'kyr enter the bargain with the Banshee Queen to get her out of hell, I would right now build a connection between Sylvanas, the 9 ravens, the 9 Val'kyr, going after these prime targets. Thrall, Bane, Jaina and Anduin, they're taken into the Maw. They also try to get their hands on Tyrande, but her Night Warrior powers, they prove too much to handle. And with Anduin gone, it's Tyrellian that sits upon the throne of Stormwind. In King Anduin's absence, I've been entrusted with the protection of Alliance citizens. It feels like lifetimes ago that I helped a young Varian Rin secure his throne. Now I am charged with keeping it safe for his son. The Fourth War took a terrible toll on the Alliance. Our military might has been depleted. Stormwind's nobles are keen to see our defenses restored. Reclaiming Stromgarde was a good first step. Perhaps there are other holdings of the old Alliance that could be secured. What we found out at BlizzCon is now also repeated in-game. The Alliance, they've won both the Darkshore and the Stromgarde Warfront, and Tyrellian thinks that it might be a good idea to keep on pushing, depending on what target he has in mind. That could work against the tenuous peace set up between the Alliance and the Hordes, which might relate to
The crown of light will bring only darkness.
At Tyrellian's side, there's also Illyria Windrunner, infused with the Void. She has control over it, for now anyways, but the whispers, they're always there. In fact, after the defeat of N'Zoth, new voices have joined the chorus. In Shadows Rising, these two are sent on the hunt for Sylvanas. They're told to do whatever it takes to get to her. This includes chaining someone up with the Holy Light, while Illyria penetrates the mind with the Void, which causes excruciating pain and makes Jaina wonder what the heck they're up to. Alternatively, it could once again be about Anduin turning to the dark side, or maybe even Kalia Menethil, sister to Arthas, who died in Before the Storm, brought back in the light. Someone wondering if she is the one that claims Sylvanas' vacant throne, which would lead to darkness. But for the moment, it's Lillian Voss that's leading the Forsaken.
5 lanterns now darkened. The flame they seek will light the Master's way. The cunning ones kneel before 6 masters, but serve only one. The vassal of life disguises treachery. Beware the eyes of greed.
A little while ago, I did a much more detailed video on the cosmic war that's apparently taking place in Warcraft. A shorter version, there would be the possibility of Sire Denethrius sending out his forces from the Realm of Death to infiltrate and manipulate the other realms. 6 masters, but in truth, they serve only one. Dreadlords in the domain of Disorder, Lothraxion for the Light area, agents in Shadow that in turn converted Sargeras from Order to Disorder, and then the one that's in the Life domain. All of these cosmic forces, they're always trying to overtake each other like an eternal tug of war, but balance is important, it must be maintained. The flames they seek, it could be tipping the scales in their favor. For example, the Void Lords sending out their old gods, trying to corrupt a slumbering Titan spirits, or the Burning Legion having their war with the Army of the Light, Sargeras trying to claim Azeroth. Those actions they did to pursue their goals, eventually overtake the others, while a side effect is that they unknowingly helped out the Jailer with gathering more souls, gathering more power, helping him break out of the maw. So while they got weaker, the Jailer got stronger. Then the one about the vessel of life disguising treachery, beware the eyes of green. AP Loman commented about this one in my Cosmo video. The Whisper says a vassal of life, not vessel. A vassal is a feudal title for a landholder who serves a lord. So basically it means a high-ranking servant of life in this phrase. Ericture Pencalis, I hope I pronounced that right, adds to that not only that, but eyes of green, while everyone seems to focus it on eye color, it can also mean envy. So the phrase could be referring to a high-ranking servant of life with envy over someone or something. With that in mind, I'm gonna stick with the idea that this is something that's going to come into play later. From the Winter Queen, we learn that she has a sister.
Do you have a sister, mortal? You are certainly as vexing as mine.
And from the book, they observe a connection between Ardenweald and the domain of life. One connection that is clear, there will be the connection between Ardenweald and the Emerald Dream. Spirits from all over the universe, they end up in the Shadowlands, they end up in Ardenweald. If the Shadowlands covers all of that, could the same be said for the Emerald Dream? Could perhaps the Emerald Dream actually be the domain of life, and then that vexing feeling towards her sister? That might be envy for one another, but time is going to tell. I've also heard the suggestion of potentially Ysera or maybe Freya. This is all guesswork at this point. I'm hoping for many more details and the story on the plane of life. And then for the final two whispers.
The blind queen wields a scepter of bone. From the deep, she calls forth doom. Before the last shadow falls, the Father of Sleep shall savor his feast.
These two are a bit harder to pinpoint. Blind queens, I mean there's a Helya, there's a Winter Queen, there's a Talanji, plenty of queens, but the line about Scepter of Bone, it reminds me of the time when Varimafras mocked us about Sylvanas in Antares.
She found me at last, sent her underlings to finish the job. When she seized your throne of hides and bones, was your allegiance forced? No, I'd wager you surrendered it willingly, or were convinced you did. It matters not. You are blind to the darkness in your midst.
Sylvanas potentially thinking that allying with the jailer, setting him free, that works well for her overarching plans, whatever they might be, while still blind for the real dangers and schemes that the jailer is cooking. 3 lies he will offer you. Perhaps it's her. And then the Father of Sleep. That is a title used for Muzala, someone that we're going to spend plenty of time with in the Shadowlands. Throughout Azeroth, there are small hints to be found about this Loa. Well, he played a much more prominent role in the Traveler series. He is an ally of the jailer, the one who elevated Bonsamdi from troll priest to the Bonsamdi as we know him as today, and we're going to confront him in the dungeon called the Other Side. Not vanquished though. He is placed in chains, while Bonsamdi is now the boss, so he could play a part later on down the line. Before the last shadow falls, the Father of Sleep shall savor his feasts. Fun detail in the Traveler series, Muzala confronts our hero, and he says, "Not yet, son of Thorn, not yet. This is not the day, that day comes. It comes. But Muzala will not engage you here or now. Our battle is yet to come. Yet to come. But it will come, child. It will come. And if you lose that battle, Muzala feasts on all of Azeroth. All of Azeroth. All of Azeroth. All of Azeroth." So he quite liked feasting on things. But how that's going to play out, and how we're hopefully going to stop him from doing this, time is going to tell. That is my take on the Whispers of Il'gynoth so far, as so many of you requested a revisit. This, again, is just one way of looking at them though. So by all means, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Any awesome connections that I totally missed out on, let me know. And with that, we're going to wrap up the video. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!